always know something about the person that I'm going to interview. And now I have no idea about you at all. Nobody told me anything. I don't really know much about the region, and I'm only here for a few hours, so it's so nice to kind of get these people to introduce me to the place.
I've migrated, or with my parents, we migrated to Svilengrad in 1989. There was something about if you migrate to Svilengrad, they will give you a flat and work from different area of Bulgaria. So that's when we first did.
But where did you migrate from?
Bulgaria, different part of Bulgaria.
Which part?
Middle, Nova Zagora it's called, close to Stara Zagora, a bigger place. A bit more city look like, and then after that, when I went to uni, I pretty much was done with Svilengrad.
First, you came to Svilengrad with your parents, and how did you feel? Like, how old were you, and how did you feel about Svilengrad? How did you see it comparing to your city?
Well, my parents moved 1 year before me with my brother, because when I see Svilengrad, and I said, I'm not moving in here, I'm staying with my grandparents in Nova Zagora to finish my year 3. And they left me with my grandparents. I really didn't like it. And then I had to move with it was hard to make new beginning, new start. But we adjusted, I guess.
And it was like the time of big changes here, 1989.
Yes.
It was like a really,
yes,
like
the communism finished.
The communism finished, and also like so many changes, and also personal changes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of hard to manage, probably, all of it. And you were what, a teenager then?
Oh no, 10.
Yeah, you were yeah. Okay, let's move that. Yeah,
9,
you were
10.
a kid. Yeah. So it was hard at first, but then you got used to it, or?
Oh, like everywhere. At the beginning it's hard, but then you sort of get used to.
But you said that they found employment here. What did they work? How did they find employment?
My parents were both engineers, and my father was with my mom forestry engineers. So there was a niche for it. They both got employed in the Ministry of Forestry, and he was doing, in the communist time, he was doing some private work, and he was doing some work with Eastern Germany. He was waiting for the communism to finish. My father and died a week before. So he couldn't really see the big changes to the private sector.
So why did you decide, like in the first place, why did you decide to come here from Australia? Is it the tempo of life, or?
Because I'm from Bulgaria, my husband wanted to try and see what is it like to live with the Bulgarians.
And your husband he's not from Bulgaria?
Australia.
Oh, he's Australian. Wow. And how does he find living in Bulgaria? How is it living in Bulgaria for an Australian?
Hard. He tried to learn Bulgarian. He was doing 8 hours a week Bulgarian lessons, but didn't succeed much. And he dropped it last month to probably once a week or twice. He still pick up, but being native English speaker, having to learn another language is not that common for Australians. So he can do it, he can get by, but that's pretty much it.
And yeah, he could get by, and probably he can also, I don't know, like his work language is English, or how does he manages this, or does he struggle also with Bulgarian trying to?
He still works for Australia, so he's not employed in here. It's more of the social part, which he gets by.
when you first came here, did you also feel this openness, or did the kind of cultures intermingled slowly because of the Iron Curtain, because of being cut away for?
There's a lot more foreigners now living in the region. In radius of 40 kilometers, there's people from UK, Canada, I think, Switzerland, South America, Americans that bought village houses. There is a whole Facebook group, alternate living. So the people are buying houses in the small villages nearby and producing their own veggies and fruits and living like the olden way. And there is, I don't know, maybe 30 families or more in this region.
And these are people whose ancestors were Bulgarians or
No,
from
no,
the region? No,
no.
they're just newcomers.
Western Europeans. Yes.
I know there was a trend, I don't know, it was already maybe started 10, 15 years ago, that, for example, British people just noticing an advertisement and buying a house for a very cheap money in Bulgaria, or also in Slovenia, in some parts of Slovenia, Croatia, so on.
But it's not only the British now, there's even Australians I've studied in Veliko Trnovo, that's in the mountains, same story in there. There is Australians living in there, producing their own veggies.
Amazing, and they're selling it
in the villages. And also there's lots of Bulgarians that lived abroad, in Australia in particular, and in the last, around COVID, they moved back to Bulgaria for good. A lot of them.
What were the things that you most missed in Australia about Bulgaria, or about the region and the people, the place?
Miss this, be able to freely travel whenever we want. European Union is more advanced than Australia in certain ways. It's just, it's a lot easier. And in here, it's, as I said, a lot easier to live without having to notice anyone a week ahead that you're going to visit them. All these formalities, you just go and it's a lot easier.
What about the character of people? I don't know, I feel like we have something in common with these people that we don't really have with, with the very people who were raised in Western culture. Like, do you have this sense also in Australia?
Well, this is very, the Eastern Europeans or South Europeans, they're very spontaneous and very hot and cold. You see the emotions very clearly, whereas the Western or Anglo-American type of people are a lot more reserved. You wouldn't see the high emotions, ups and downs. It's always this reserved smile, pretty much, and that's how it is in the first place. My kids were shocked at school that in here the teachers shout and scream and pull the ears too. If that happened in Australia, the social services will be straight away. It's not allowed. But also the teachers, and they would not tell you straight that your kid is bad in maths. They will be just going all around the place and would not go straight answer, which really bothered me in there. I had a colleague, Australian colleague, and it's probably, I was 3 years working or something, and I would just go straight away, this needs to be done, can you do it? Without all this, oh, hello, how are you going, hope it's all, blah. Up to the point that once my manager banned me from sending emails because I'm so straightforward without any. So yes, at the beginning, until I learned that you need to put 4 sentences before you ask the question, yes. At the beginning, I've struggled to make English friends in London, so I went and lived with 2 English guys and the girlfriend of one of them. So they would 3 English people, and I specifically lived with them to see like why I'm not getting that along with
The rest of society.
the English. And I remember we'll come back from work and each of us will ask, how are you, how was your day? And I'll start telling how my day was. Then I realized that no one is actually listening. They don't care how my day was. It's just a question that does not need an answer. Yeah, not too bad. That was the answer. And that's how they will answer. They wouldn't go in deep details, just not too bad. That's all. But if you ask about the weather, lengthy conversations, like lengthy. The queue, there was a good book, Bill Bryson's book, something in the lines for the British. That was pretty good book.
Or have you felt the intercultural dimension of Svilengrad the first time you moved here? Like this kind of a closeness to Greece, closeness to Turkey, because it was just the Iron Curtain was finished, and then
When I
you were
was
able to travel.
when I was at uni, we made an organization that was cooperating with Greece and Turkey, and the aim was to reduce the antisocial traits in the youth people from 18 to 30. So then we started doing a lot more intercultural work with the Greeks predominantly, the nearby up to Dikia or Stiada Dikia. It's probably 30 kilometers diameter or 40. We've organized, there was a big music festival in Greece in 2000. It was pretty good. Then we mixed up with all sorts of different nationalities, some folklore festivals. So foreigners were always coming in and out of this area.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you see like this this cross-border relationship evolve or change over time, and how does it influence maybe also the life?
With the casinos, at some point there were 14 casinos in here.
Because casinos they started in the 90s probably, or
No,
even later?
no, 10 years ago, I
Only
think.
10 years ago. Okay, wow. And they
Make a
Boomed.
spin. Yeah,
they made a spin, yeah.
yeah.
So
So that's a different term, but never.
how come that casino started? Like,
Alcohol and hazard are banned in Turkey. The people from Istanbul coming to play, and from some of our friends that work in them, they lose 100,000 euro a night. It was something like big money was spinning around. COVID killed a lot of it, but there is still some. There's one 5-star casino. So that's how it changed the cross-border.
but did also the locals, as you said, like your friends, they also fell victims to the hazard addictions, or it is mostly foreigners who come here and locals avoid it?
Well,
What is
predominantly foreigners, but I think it's inevitable some of the locals to go in there and try their luck.
But also was the thing with the casinos, was that like I don't know, structural decision or decision from, probably you were not here at the time, but was it like, I don't know, why Svilengrad and casinos, why not?
I guess economic development. It was it had developed economically and provide work, and unlike many other small places in Bulgaria, in Svilengrad, I think the people stayed and came back and stayed. There's a lot more work than other places in Bulgaria, and the border is the one that keeps and always have kept it.
And how do the locals see the casinos? Like, is the profit in the hands of some major players, or is it kind of distributed amongst the people who live here, who get jobs and so on? So
Maybe some peanuts are given to the locals. the rest is kept. It's like what people in Las Vegas. What do the locals see is in the desert in there.
Yeah.
Uh,
But the big bosses, are they locals or are they?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I doubt. I'd say most of the managers will be from the Turkish. I don't know. Haven't really been visiting them places.
Yeah.
Unlike any other parts of the country, it's very normal just to go to Greece for a coffee or to go on your bike to Greece just for a road trip or just to go for a day. Have breakfast in Bulgaria, lunch in Greece, and dinner in Turkey. It's quite normal.
Amazing.
The radius is just 30 kilometers, even less. Whereas elsewhere in Bulgaria, it seems, oh wow.
Okay, thanks.